Most men think a woman chooses the guy who tries the hardest. But the truth is different. A woman chooses the man whose energy she can't ignore, the man who makes her feel something deeper than attention, deeper than validation. Today, I'll show you exactly how to become that man, even if she has more options than you think. Number one, a woman chooses emotional safety, not chaos. A woman chooses emotional safety, not chaos, because her nervous system is wired to seek stability in the connections that matter to her. Emotional safety is not about being perfect or always calm. It is about creating an environment where she doesn't have to defend herself, prove herself, or constantly question your intentions. When a woman feels safe with you, her guard drops naturally. She doesn't have to pretend to be strong, she doesn't have to perform confidence, and she doesn't have to hide the vulnerable parts of herself. Emotional chaos does the opposite. It keeps her on edge, makes her question your interest, and forces her into a cycle of overthinking. This is why the men who bring peace without forcing it and strength without arrogance feel different to her. They feel rare in a world where most people are loud in actions but empty in consistency. Emotional safety comes from your presence, your tone, your reactions, and your ability to stay grounded when things get difficult. Women don't trust words as much as they trust patterns. If your words say one thing but your behavior says another, she feels it instantly. When you remain steady, patient, and emotionally available in moments of discomfort, she sees real stability. Safety is created when you handle conflict without disrespecting her, when you listen without needing to dominate the conversation, and when you show empathy without seeing it as a weakness. Even small things matter, like how you respond when she shares something personal. If you listen with judgment or dismissiveness, she closes up. If you listen with presence, she opens up more. Over time, she begins to associate you with ease, with comfort, with clarity. And that emotional experience becomes more valuable than superficial attraction or temporary excitement. Chaos usually comes from unpredictability, hot one moment, cold the next, available for one day, distant for the next three, showing interest until she responds, then pulling away as soon as she gives you attention. This inconsistency creates emotional confusion, and confusion kills attraction. A woman might tolerate chaos for a short time, especially if she's attached to the potential she sees in someone, but she will not choose it long term. Her mind will try to rationalize the chaos, but her body will feel the imbalance. She won't feel relaxed around you. She won't feel like she can trust where the connection is going. And without trust, she cannot commit emotionally, no matter how much she likes you. Peace doesn't mean being passive. It means responding with clarity instead of reacting with impulse. It means controlling your emotions instead of using them to create pressure. When a woman feels that your emotional world is stable, she naturally feels safer sharing her own. She no longer fears judgment, punishment, or abandonment. She feels like she can be her full self around you. That level of comfort is rare, and once she experiences it, she won't trade it for someone who gives her constant uncertainty. Emotional safety becomes its own form of attraction because it creates a connection that feels effortless, honest, and deeply secure. Number two, confidence beats competition every time. Confidence beats competition every time because a woman doesn't measure a man by how well he compares to others. She measures him by how fully he embodies himself. Confidence is not about being the loudest, richest, or most charming in the room. It is about being comfortable in your own skin, owning your presence, and living by your values without needing validation from anyone else. When a man demonstrates genuine confidence, he radiates an energy that is magnetic and effortless. Women are naturally drawn to that energy because it signals security, strength, and independence. A confident man doesn't need to prove that he's better than other options because he already knows his worth. This self-assuredness removes the tension of competition. She doesn't have to guess, compare, or weigh her choices against others. She can simply feel the stability and strength he offers, and that feeling becomes far more compelling than any external measure of status or attention. Confidence manifests in how you carry yourself, in your tone, in your actions, and in the decisions you make. It's the calm that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. A confident man doesn't try to control a woman's choices or manipulate her emotions to secure her attention. He doesn't chase or plead because he knows that genuine connection is not earned through effort, but through alignment of values, energy, and mutual respect. When you act with confidence, you remove the pressure of competition entirely. Women feel it instinctively. They can sense when a man is grounded versus when he is desperate to be chosen. Desperation triggers doubt and resistance, while calm certainty triggers desire and trust. Confidence allows you to interact with her without constantly checking her reactions, without adjusting your behavior to outshine other men, and without fearing rejection. That freedom creates an authenticity that is rare and magnetic, making her naturally gravitate toward you even if other options exist. Competition relies on comparison. It measures a man by his ability to impress, outperform someone else. But confidence doesn't operate on the same scale. A confident man knows that no one can compete with authenticity, clarity of purpose, and emotional presence. Women notice this immediately because it creates a sense of ease in the interaction. Instead of feeling like she has to evaluate multiple options or weigh her choices carefully, she experiences a sense of alignment. The more you embody confidence, the less she feels the need to compare you to others. She begins to see you as the standard rather than one of several choices, because you are not playing the game of validation. You are simply living as yourself. Confidence also comes from action and consistency. A man who consistently shows up, keeps his word, and acts in alignment with his values demonstrates stability and reliability. Women are drawn to this because it signals that he is capable of handling challenges, maintaining composure under pressure, and offering a partnership built on trust. It is this quiet assurance that beats flashy competition every time, because it transcends superficial attraction. While other men may try to impress, show off, or manipulate attention, the confident man creates an invisible gravity that naturally draws her closer, making her choose him without any effort on his part to compete with the rest. Number 3. Mystery creates magnetism. Mystery creates magnetism because human beings are naturally drawn to the unknown. When a woman feels like she has fully figured you out, the excitement and intrigue begin to fade. Curiosity is one of the most powerful drivers of attraction, and it thrives on subtlety, restraint, and unpredictability. Mystery is not about playing games or being deliberately confusing. It's about maintaining depth, having layers, and revealing yourself selectively. A man who allows a woman to wonder about him, to imagine possibilities, and to think about him when he's not present creates a mental and emotional pull that is far stronger than constant accessibility. When everything about a man is visible and predictable, she experiences familiarity but not fascination. Mystery keeps her engaged, attentive, and invested because she wants to understand the parts of you that are hidden from the surface. Creating mystery begins with presence and discretion. It's about being intentional with what you share and how you behave. You don't need to narrate your life or explain every thought or feeling. Sharing too much too soon removes the element of curiosity, which is the very thing that creates long-lasting attraction. A man who has depth in his life, goals, passions, experiences, and perspectives, naturally has parts of himself that are not immediately accessible. By giving glimpses of your life without exposing everything, you allow her mind to fill in the gaps, creating anticipation and intrigue. This anticipation works on a subconscious level, keeping her thinking about you, imagining scenarios, and wondering what the next interaction will reveal. It is in this space of controlled revelation that emotional attachment begins to deepen, because she is drawn not only to who you are, but also to the process of discovering you. Unpredictability is another key element of mystery. It is not about inconsistency in values or behavior, but about maintaining a sense of spontaneity and excitement in your interactions. When a man is fully predictable, his energy can feel flat and ordinary. When he introduces subtle surprises through humor, thoughtfulness, or a unique perspective, he sparks interest. Mystery also allows a man to maintain autonomy, showing that his life is not entirely centered on her approval or attention. This independence is magnetic because it signals self-sufficiency, purpose, and emotional resilience. A woman is naturally drawn to a man who is not entirely available at all times, because scarcity in presence combined with consistency and quality creates a psychological pull. She begins to value interactions more and invests emotionally in the connection, because each encounter feels meaningful and layered. Finally, mystery creates magnetism by making a man memorable. Women often forget men who are fully predictable or overly transparent, but a man who leaves traces of intrigue stays in her mind. The unanswered questions, the moments that hint at more beneath the surface, and the subtle display of uniqueness all work together to create lasting attraction. Mystery is the energy that lingers even when you are absent, the quiet tension that draws her thoughts back to you, and the reason she prioritizes your presence over other options. By mastering the art of selective sharing, maintaining independence, and cultivating layers of depth, a man becomes not just noticed but unforgettable in a woman's experience. Number 4, standards build respect. Standards build respect because they define the way you allow yourself to be treated and communicate your value without saying a word. A man who has clear boundaries and non-negotiable standards shows a woman that he respects himself, and in turn, she is naturally compelled to respect him. Standards are not about being rigid or controlling. They are about clarity and consistency in how you engage with the world and the people around you. When a man compromises too easily, bends for approval, or tries to please at all costs, he inadvertently signals that his worth is negotiable. This erodes attraction and makes him just another option among many. In contrast, a man who knows his principles, enforces his boundaries calmly, and expects respect sets a tone that communicates confidence, self-awareness, and emotional strength, all of which are magnetic qualities to a woman seeking a meaningful connection. Having standards also demonstrates discernment. It shows that you are not willing to accept less than what aligns with your values, whether in relationships, career, or personal life. Women are drawn to men who are selective because selectivity signals depth, maturity, and a sense of purpose. A man who allows disrespect, tolerates inconsistency, or bends his principles for temporary comfort communicates insecurity, indecision, or lack of self-worth. On the other hand, a man who maintains his standards consistently creates a sense of reliability and authority in the relationship. She begins to understand that winning his attention or earning his trust is not about manipulation or charm, but about meeting the criteria of mutual respect and emotional integrity. This clarity makes her value the connection more because she sees the structure, the boundaries, and the standards as reflections of a strong character rather than arbitrary rules. Respect is reinforced by how a man enforces his standards in everyday interactions. It's in the way he communicates, in how he handles disagreements, and in how he responds when his time, energy, or feelings are challenged. A man who calmly and confidently says no when something violates his values does not create conflict out of ego. He creates clarity and maintains equilibrium. This demonstrates emotional intelligence and leadership, which are inherently attractive qualities. Standards are not about control. They are about self-possession. They show that your attention and energy are valuable and not to be taken for granted. The woman who recognizes this begins to place you above all others who do not maintain the same level of consistency because your standards create a framework that makes her feel secure, respected, and understood on a deeper level. Moreover, standards prevent the relationship from becoming transactional or superficial. When a man allows any behavior or ignores the ways he is treated, interactions can become hollow, based solely on immediate gratification rather than genuine connection. By holding to standards, he ensures that the foundation of attraction is built on mutual respect, shared values, and meaningful engagement. This creates a dynamic where a woman feels drawn to meet the same level of integrity, accountability, and commitment. She sees a man who is unwavering in his principles, who does not compromise himself for fleeting approval, and who expects reciprocity in respect and effort. This is what transforms casual interest into deliberate choice and casual attraction into genuine regard, making him someone who is truly worthy of her time, attention, and emotional investment. Number 5, purpose makes you unforgettable. Purpose makes you unforgettable because it gives your presence weight and direction in a way that attention alone never can. Women are drawn to men who are building, creating, or striving towards something meaningful because it signals ambition, discipline, and self-possession. Purpose is more than a job, a hobby, or a side project. It is the overarching reason you move through life with energy, focus, and consistency. When a man has purpose, he carries a sense of direction that permeates his thoughts, words, and actions. Women notice this immediately, even if they cannot articulate why. There is a difference between a man who drifts through life reacting to circumstances and a man who shapes his own path. The latter has an aura of inevitability that is magnetic because it suggests stability, commitment, and a life that is worth investing in. Having purpose also signals that a man values himself and his time. A woman will naturally notice that your focus is not entirely on her approval or attention. Instead, it is directed toward growth, achievement, or contribution. This creates a paradoxical attraction. By not being entirely available, by prioritizing your mission and your goals, you become more desirable. Women are instinctively drawn to men who are invested in something bigger than immediate gratification or superficial connection because that investment signals depth, maturity, and reliability. Purpose demonstrates that you are not chasing validation. You are creating value, whether for yourself, for those around you, or for your broader ambitions. This creates an invisible standard that elevates the way she perceives you compared to men who have no direction or measure beyond fleeting attention. Purpose also shapes how you interact with her. A man with purpose brings clarity, focus, and intentionality to the connection. His energy is consistent because it is not dependent on external approval or emotional highs and lows. He makes decisions that align with his goals, communicates from a place of conviction, and maintains boundaries that reinforce his priorities. This sense of groundedness is magnetic because it makes a woman feel secure. She knows that your attention, affection, and time are deliberate, not arbitrary. When a man is fully engaged in his purpose, he naturally projects confidence and authenticity. There is no need for manipulation, coercion, or overcompensation because his value is evident in his actions, his trajectory, and the life he is building. That is far more powerful than charm or flirtation alone, and it leaves a lasting impression on her mind and emotions. Finally, purpose makes you unforgettable because it creates contrast. In a world where many men are reactive, distracted, and self-serving, a man with direction stands out like a beacon. Women remember men who inspire, challenge, or elevate them through their energy and focus, even without trying. Purpose manifests in subtle ways: the way you carry yourself, the way you speak about your work, the way you prioritize your life, and the way you navigate challenges. All of these elements combine to create a presence that lingers in her mind. She associates you not just with the moments you share, but with the trajectory, energy, and vision that define your life. This makes you someone who is not easily replaced, who commands attention without demanding it, and who becomes a standard against which other men are unconsciously measured. Number 6, presence matters more than words. Presence matters more than words because attraction and connection are first felt, not heard. Women are highly sensitive to energy, body language, and the subtle cues that communicate confidence, stability, and emotional availability. A man can say all the right things, craft the perfect messages, or give constant attention. But if his energy is scattered, anxious, or inconsistent, his words lose their impact. Presence is the combination of being fully grounded in the moment, aware of yourself, and attuned to the space around you. It communicates strength without boasting, calmness without passivity, and assurance without arrogance. When a woman senses that your energy is steady, your focus is intentional, and your attention is deliberate, she feels a natural pull toward you that no words can replicate. Presence is built through how you carry yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. The way you walk into a room, hold eye contact, or even pause before speaking communicates far more than the content of your conversation. Women notice these details instinctively because they are wired to pick up on authenticity and subtle cues. A man who moves with purpose, speaks with clarity, and listens with genuine attention creates an experience that feels rare and valuable. His energy communicates, "I am here, fully engaged, and I am not distracted by external validation." That sense of grounded focus makes her feel seen, acknowledged, and respected without a single word needing to be spoken. Presence is the silent language of attraction, and mastering it allows you to create a connection that feels effortless, natural, and deeply magnetic. Beyond physical cues, presence is about emotional consistency and self-mastery. A man who reacts impulsively, becomes anxious over small interactions, or seeks constant reassurance undermines his own energy. Words can only do so much to convince someone of stability. It is the quiet composure, the calm in stressful moments, and the ability to regulate your emotions that truly communicate strength. When a woman experiences a man who maintains equilibrium, she feels secure and drawn to him. She doesn't need to overanalyze his intentions because his presence speaks louder than explanations or promises. This form of silent authority creates a sense of respect and trust that is far more enduring than superficial charm or verbal persuasion. Presence also affects how she experiences interactions. Conversations with a man who is fully present feel different. They are richer, deeper, and more engaging because his focus is on her, the moment, and the connection. He doesn't need to fill silence with words or impress with stories. His energy alone makes the exchange meaningful. She feels the weight of his attention and the clarity of his engagement, which creates a subtle emotional bond. In contrast, a man who is physically present but mentally elsewhere leaves an impression of detachment and inconsistency, making even the most charming words feel hollow. Presence ensures that every gesture, glance, and word carries intention, creating a resonance that lingers long after the interaction ends. Finally, presence makes a man memorable because it signals authenticity. Women are unconsciously drawn to men whose energy aligns with their words and actions. When your presence conveys confidence, calm, and clarity, it forms the foundation of attraction that no conversation, text, or grand gesture can replicate. Presence is the invisible force that shapes her perception of you, influencing how she prioritizes your attention and considers her options. It communicates more about your character, stability, and desirability than any carefully chosen phrase or rehearsed line ever could. Remember, attraction isn't about chasing attention or competing with every option she has. It's about becoming the man who naturally commands respect, intrigue, and desire through confidence, purpose, presence, and emotional clarity. Focus on building yourself, holding your standards, and showing up with calm certainty. When you do that, you're no longer one of many. You become unforgettable. The choice will follow naturally, not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of man she can't ignore.